Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. My name is Eleanor Kleiber, and I am honored to be your worship associate this morning. We come together, hearts and minds, to this place of grace and of holiness on this beautiful Sunday morning. We have our band, the Spirits, to lift our spirits. And we have our minister, the Reverend Dr. Jennifer Kupunakwang, to challenge our minds. This church is indeed a blessed and loved community, as well as a beautiful place for diversity of ideas, opinions, and passions. But pulling all this diversity together is a common mission to boldly grow compassion, justice, and joy. This mission keeps us busy, and our many activities can be found in the insert to your order of service, the website, or the many two-legged bulletin boards, which is all of us, and we can all tell you how to get involved in our many teams and groups and councils, how you can help. This morning, our chalice lighter is Owen Gillis Davis. Come on up. So as Owen kindly lights the chalice, please join me in these words. We light this chalice with the embers of compassion. We light this chalice with a torch of justice. We light this chalice with the radiance of joy.
All right. I'm Katie, your Director of Lifespan Religious Education, as you may know. Hi. So children of any and all ages, if you would like to come and join me on the carpet, you're welcome to. We have a bunch of folks here. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. All right. So today, I know the rest of the congregation is going to be discussing things financial, and I think the youth group could probably talk to you about that. They've been studying it for a while. So the story that we're going to read is Bunny Money by Rosemary Wells. All right. Max's sister Ruby saved up a wallet full of money for Grandma's birthday present. We're going to buy Grandma a music box with skating ballerinas, Max, said Ruby. Get your lucky quarter and let's go shopping. Ruby took $1 from her wallet to pay the bus fare. The bus stopped at Rosalinda's gift shop. In the window was a music box with skating ballerinas. Isn't it beautiful, Max? Said Ruby. Thirsty, said Max. You may buy a very, very small lemonade, Max, said Ruby. Next door in Candy's corner window were hundreds of vampire teeth. Max knew Grandma would love a set of teeth with oozing cherry syrup inside for her birthday. Who wouldn't? He bought them instead of the lemonade. $2, please, said Candy. Max wanted to make sure the teeth worked. He put them in. The teeth worked perfectly. Ruby had to take Max to the laundromat. Soap cost $1. The washer cost $1. And the dryer cost $1. Money down the drain, Max, said Ruby. Hungry, said Max. It was lunchtime. Max finished off a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, 2 coconut cupcakes, and a banana shake. Lunch cost $4. Money is running through our fingers, Max, said Ruby. They walked all the way back to Rosalinda's gift shop without spending another penny. I'd like to buy the music box with skating ballerinas for Grandma's birthday, Ruby said to Rosalinda. It's $100, said Rosalinda. $100, said Ruby. The ice skates are made of real gold, Rosalinda explained. Ruby looked in her wallet. The only thing left was a $5 bill. Here's an idea, said Rosalinda. Bluebird earrings that play "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning" are on sale for $4. Gift wrap is free. We'll take them, said Ruby. So Ruby gave Rosalinda the $5 bill for the bluebird earrings, and they went to pick out the wrapping paper. $4 for the earrings and $1 change, said Rosalinda. You take care of that dollar, young man. I don't know why she gives it to him. Max went back to Candy's corner. Glow-in-the-dark vampire teeth were half price. Most people like glow-in-the-dark vampire teeth better than the oozing cherry kind, said Candy. Max bought a set for $1. Oh no, Max, said Ruby. You have spent our last dollar. How are we going to pay for the bus home? Max reached into his pocket and pulled out his lucky quarter. Ruby used it for the telephone. Grandma will have to pick us up, said Ruby. I hope she won't be angry. Grandma was not angry at all. She was so thrilled she played the musical Bluebird earrings and wore the vampire teeth all the way home. All right. Thank you very much. And so with that, we'll make a bridge, please, and sing our children upstairs.
Here we go.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
This morning's opening words come from Reverend Gary Blaine. You cannot determine a person's character by how often he or she opens the good book, by which I assume he means the Bible. People's values are more accurately displayed in their checkbook. What we spend our money on speaks volumes about what we really cherish.
In lieu of a responsive reading this morning, I invite you to watch this video from Singapore.
I didn't like my father.
Thank you.
He was poor and unsuccessful, despite working harder than all my friends' fathers. I didn't think he was very smart.
Hey, it's not for you.
I've never seen him as an inspiration.
Hey, what?
We are late for school.
Oh yeah, school. Sorry, I hurry. Oh, here's your pocket money. Here's a bit of extra. Time to pay your taxes. From you? It's from me.
Why are we not rich?
Who says we are not rich? Being rich is not about how much you have, but how much you give. And somehow, when you give, you'll be happier.
I wasn't happy. I didn't want to be poor like my father when I grew up. I knew I wanted to be more successful than my father.
Call me when you need more money. Are you coming back for reunion dinner this year?
No, I'm not coming home this year. Yeah, new job here. Maybe after New Year, we'll see. Yeah, I'm really busy now. Okay, bye.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Lim.
I found this letter saying that I've been donating money to the community chest. There must be a mistake.
I'll explain later. There's someone who would like to meet you. Come with me.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Lim. Well, your father has told us a lot about you. Your father, he always makes us forget about our problems and reminds us about our dreams and hopes. But the kids here, they all miss him, and he's the only one who can bring a smile on their faces. And I remember there's this boy. He was really depressed and he didn't go to school. Basically, he's given up on life. But your father, he read to this boy regularly. This boy has now grown up to be a really useful person. Your father could have retired comfortably, but he chose to continue working so he can help even more people. He was a selfless man. It's just that he didn't tell anyone about his sickness.
Mr. Lim, I've been trying to reach you. This is for you, in recognition of your donations.
Yes, my name. But I didn't donate.
It's your dad. He didn't want you to know.
It's from you. It's from me.
On my father's birthday, I will celebrate his life as he would have wanted it. I could almost hear him say,
Being rich is not about how much you have,
but about how much you can give.
How can anyone preach after that, yeah? Just say amen and sit back down, Jennifer. Well, today we're going to be talking about financial freedom for the holidays. So for those of you who might have read the title and thought to yourself, oh, great, Jennifer's going to give a sermon according to the gospel according to Suzy Orman, right? How can I manage my stock portfolio well? Or how can I plan for retirement? Well, sorry to disappoint, but that's not exactly what we're going to be talking about this morning. But rather, the theme for the month of December is from bondage to freedom. And so if your mind is wandering to the other part and focusing on the word bondage, I'm sorry to tell you that it's not going to be that kind of sermon either. You'll just have to wait until they turn 50 Shades of Grey into a movie, which I hear is coming out Valentine's Day of next year. Or come back for the whole month of February when our theme is going to be about sex. That should fill up the sanctuary, hopefully. Woohoo! But no, that's not what it's going to be about either. Today, it's going to be a metaphorical view of what bondage versus freedom means. And in the case of financial freedom, bondage might mean something to the effect of possessing a scarcity mentality, and freedom might look something like generosity or abundance. So some of you may say, how is that a spiritual principle? And where can you show me in the Unitarian Universalist 7 principles does it talk about money? It's not very explicit when it comes to how to be responsible and ethical in terms of our financial use according to our principles, is it? Yet, let me point out the fact that if you look a little deeper, if you dig just a little deeper beyond the surface, you'll see that all 7 principles talk exactly about how we are to treat each other and how we could have economic justice in our world. Take the second principle, for example. It talks about what? Having compassion, justice, and equity in human relations. For me, I interpret that to mean that every single person born into this world ought to be free from want. No one in this world ought to suffer from the bondage of poverty, of not having food on their table, or not having a roof over their head. Last week, remember we sang a song called For Everyone Born, one of my favorite hymns of all times. It talks about for everyone born, clean water and air. Clean water, the idea, the audacity to think that every time we turn on our tap, that clean water should come out, not contaminants like nitrates and other things. That whether we drink tap water or Evian or Fiji water, everyone ought to have access to clean water. For everyone born, a shelter over their head. Can you imagine a world, a free world, where truly everyone would have a roof over their head? It doesn't matter whether it's a housing project in Kalihi or the Trump Towers in Waikiki. For everyone born, a roof over their head. That's freedom, don't you think? Now, some of you may be asking me, well, how much is enough? How hard should I continue to work until I get all the stuff I want? Well, let me tell you what society will tell you, American society especially. It's never enough. That you need to shop till you drop. Anybody ever notice that the Friday after Thanksgiving, it's not just any regular old holiday anymore. They have a new name for it. It's a holiday called Black Friday, right? I just found out recently what Black Friday actually meant. Yes, I've gone on all these years without knowing. I thought for some reason it was some kind of racist thing, Black Friday. But when I found out the truth, it was actually these companies and businesses and corporations that got together and said, how can we make sure that we end the year in the black instead of the red? I know, let's mark down our prices, have lost leads, and draw people into our stores so that they could shop like crazy, right? And craziness it is. The other thing I found out is that in French, this Friday is known not only as Le Vendredi Noir, or literally Black Friday, yeah? It's also known as Le Vendredi Fou, meaning crazy Friday. And I interpret that to mean who'd be crazy enough to fight all those crowds during that particular Friday when we could get a sale every other time of the year and go shopping any other time of the year. And so, consequently, did you know, this is one of those interesting tidbits, that this year, Black Friday was down by 11% compared to last year, believe it or not. So some of you may be thinking, oh, maybe Black Friday has finally reached a plateau and people are no longer participating in this holiday. Or those of us who are more idealistic, perhaps, might attribute it to the fact that Mother Jones called for a boycott of Walmart during Black Friday. I'd like to think that's the case. I don't know. How many of us actually boycotted Black Friday or even Walmart because of that article from Mother Jones? Well, a few of you. Well, that's good. So I don't know whatever the reason is, but I also found out that Cyber Monday more than made up for it. So they had record sales on Cyber Monday. So everybody went shopping on Monday instead. So I tend to question these consumeristic holidays, I call them, and say, how effective is it really? Or is it just drawing us further and further into our bondage and our addiction to materialism and material goods? I, for one, will admit that when I did go shopping for Black Friday, which I don't do anymore, I ended up buying more stuff for myself than for other people. It's like a gift for me and a gift for me, yeah? And so I decided to tell my family, I came out to my family 10 or 15 years ago by saying that, family, I decided I'm no longer going to participate in this craziness called Christmas, that we're no longer going to exchange gifts with one another, but we just share our love with each other, and that should be enough. So my family, being the good Pakis that they are, agreed to it very quickly. They're like, all right, more ways to save money, yeah? So since then, we haven't. And I really thought to myself, what enjoyment do I even get out of going to malls and shopping? I end up feeling empty inside. So it's not very liberating, in my opinion. So that's the second freedom. Not only do we need a freedom from want and have all the basic needs we could possibly need in life, but secondly, we need to have freedom from consumerism, don't you think? That is Unitarian Universalists. Isn't it our job to challenge that mentality of I shop, therefore I am? My apologies to Descartes, right? That we shouldn't buy into that whole mentality that people's inherent worth and dignity could be bought with a dollar amount next to it. Our inherent worth and dignity is free. It belongs to all of us, and it belongs to us at birth. That's what I think we should be promoting as Unitarian Universalists. Can I get an amen, congregation? All right, well, the third freedom that I'm going to be talking about when it comes to money is you may say to yourself, well, it's still good, don't you think, to plan for things so that you become comfortable in your old age, so that you could retire in peace, and so that you could have enough play money to go all around the world if you wanted to. Well, let me tell you something. This word comfortable is code word, it's euphemism, it's a synonym for being upper middle class, right? And so, what do we mean when we say comfortable? Yes, I realize that none of us should be slaves to our jobs. We shouldn't be working just so that we could pay off our credit card bills and our debts, right? And what's that saying go? My apologies to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but anybody heard of I-O, it's off to work I go, do, 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 do. I-O. Anyway, so life shouldn't just be about that. And on the other hand of the spectrum, have you heard of some older people who are retired, for example, who said they're going to go on a ski trip? Anybody heard of a ski trip? Yeah, that's exactly right, Margaret. It's an acronym for Spend Kids Inheritance. So I had this one friend who said, I'm going to go on a ski trip until I die, so that when I die, there's zero money left that goes to my children. After all, they don't need it. They're comfortable just the way they are, and they need to learn how to make their own money anyway. And so the whole idea of comfort or having debt and owing money, I thought to myself, what would a Unitarian Universalist ethic around financial freedom in that regard be like? What would it be like to be free from false comfort and false security? I then, interestingly enough, thought of this one line from the good book, from the Bible. It says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Can you imagine how radical that would be if fundamentalists started taking that phrase literally? Right? Instead of translating it to mean, oh, forgive us our trespasses, because trespassing someone else's territory is more egregious than forgiving their debts. Can you imagine if we, the United States of America, practiced that with third world countries who owe us money? That we just one day woke up and said, we forgive you of your debt. You no longer have to repay us. What would that financial freedom look like? What would that ethic look like? I tell you what, it's revolutionary. It's radical. It would make Elizabeth Warren look like a wimp, right? It is what I would call an ethic that is built around the idea of the movie, for example, right? Of redefining what richness means. Did you notice this kid was saying, I grew up thinking my father was poor and not very smart, right? Don't you just love a short film that begins with the line, I didn't like my father? How many of you were saying amen to that? I'm not going to admit it because my father might actually watch this video. I love my father. There's nothing to not like about him. But nonetheless, at the end of the movie, he grew to realize the values that his father taught him of where richness actually lies. That is, being rich, he says, it's not about how much you have, but it's about how much you give. Can we say the same thing here in our congregation? What holiday will we celebrate this time of year? I suggest that we celebrate a holiday that begins with a hashtag. Hashtag Giving Tuesday, which many of you have probably already heard of last Tuesday, right? That it's a way for us to think about what charitable organization, what nonprofit is worthy of our hard-earned cash and is worthy for a tax write-off this time of year. I know that all of you got a letter in your mail or an email from someone or another just this past week even, asking for your money. And I know what you're thinking, the church is just another 501c3 that's asking for your money and to liberate you from your pocketbooks, right? And don't worry, I won't make another pitch because I think that's pitch enough. And that'll dwell enough on your conscience to think about giving this time of year. And what would it mean for us as Unitarian Universalists to practice generosity? But seriously, if you don't give to this church, give somewhere. Give to where you get your good, is the way I've heard it said before. And give until it feels good. Don't give until it hurts or give until you're broke. Give until it feels good. How much would that revolutionize our world? And I'm not just talking about money. There's a great activist from the 1960s who happens to be Catholic, we'll forgive her for that, by the name of Dorothy Day. She lived in New York and she served the poorest of the poor. I would almost canonize her if I were Catholic and call her Saint Dorothy. Not you, Saint Dorothy, the other Saint Dorothy. And here's what she had to say about her experience serving the poor and what it means to be rich or poor. She said, richness is gratitude. Complaint is poverty. That's my new mantra these days. Whenever I'm in that place of I'm complaining about my first world problems, I think to myself, what right do I have to complain? After going to Haiti and experiencing all that poverty, I am rich. We're all rich if we could only be grateful for what we have. So I encourage us as we go forth from here and celebrate the holidays to embody this new ethic. And I'm just going to end by reading you a poem written, another gospel. It's an apocryphal one, of course, by Saint Amy Grant. No, of course. I know it was co-written by some other guy, but I won't even mention his name. All right, anyway, here's how this song goes. What if I told you you had the power to give someone hope far beyond their wildest dreams? What if I told you it's right there in your hands? in your hands. It's hard to imagine something so small can make a difference, tear down the tallest wall. What if December looked different this year? What if we all just give this Christmas away? If there's love in your heart, don't let it stay there. Give this Christmas away, and your life will be changed by the gift you receive when you give this Christmas away. It's feeding the hungry and serving the poor. It's telling the orphan, you're not forgotten anymore. It's doing what love does, even when no one is watching you. Give this Christmas away. If there's love in your heart, don't let it stay there. Give this Christmas away, and your life will be changed by the gift you receive when you give this Christmas away. Are you with me? Are you ready to give this Christmas away? If so, can I hear you say amen? Amen. Amen.